Life Force Shamanic Arts and Healing. My name is Joan Forrest Mage. I'm the founder and director. And we are here today in this modern shamanic arts community that helps you live from your soul. That is our mission here. We're here today with one of our artists, Lisa Nomikos. And this is part of a beautiful art exhibit that we have here, and an art show that includes performances, workshops, many other things to help you live from your soul, to connect with the spiritual realm, and to heal. One of the things I wanted to show you, this is our the catalog, exhibit catalog that you can find on our website. And Lisa is our graphic artist who has produced this. This is the exhibit and the show called The Soul of the Land. And this covers experiences that people have had with nature having a soul, which is very shamanic. So by shamanic, we mean working with energy and working with spirit guides. And we'll get a little bit more into that later too. And so the Soul of the Land is, this exhibit shows many different connections that the artists, we have many different artists that work with us. We've had 41 exhibits and 175 different artists from all over the world that have exhibited with us. And this exhibit has about 16 different artists. So we ask for their responses to the theme of the soul of the land, that people throughout history have felt that the land was a living being. And so I'd like to invite Lisa to explain a little bit more, like, how did you come to exhibit here at Life Force?
Thank you, Joan.
Yes.
Thank you for having me here. That's a long story, but it's kind of diluted. A friend of mine, Lisa Gennady, and I were going to one of the events that Joan had here and couldn't make it because there was a snowstorm. So sometimes when you can't make it, Joan records things. So we were listening to the recording and it was so interesting. So I went back and I was checking out Joan's website and realized, oh, they have a call for artists. So at that time, I was just thinking about exhibiting my artwork, getting to more places than what I already had it in. So I applied to get into one of the art exhibits. I don't remember what year that was anymore.
I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
Or 2018.
Right, it was around then, and I got a piece in, and when I came here for the exhibit, I realized there was so much more to Life Force than just artwork. That the artwork itself was framing this whole world that I didn't expect to find here. That it frames and is the backdrop to all of their energy healing and all of shamanic classes and things like that, of that nature. So I was pleasantly surprised. It was almost like opening up a package, and you start out and you see the pretty bow on top and you think that's all there's going to be, but then you open up the box and you find out, whoa, no, there's more and there's more and there's more. So that's how I started. And then you had approached me about redesigning your logo. And as I don't even know how many phone calls we had on that logo, but the subject of the logo for Life Force is huge. It wasn't something where, I'm a graphic designer, so I expected, okay, simple explanation, and okay, I will design what you need. But I needed to learn in order to be able to even begin to pull in your vision,
Yeah.
because there was so much the life force encompasses here.
Well, and also you had already started studying some of the shamanic classes here. I'm
You're
almost
right.
positive. Yeah,
You're right, but
yeah.
I still feel that I was a student.
A lot of our stuff kind of
It does.
It's easy to go over the head because it's
very
deep.
easy. Like
Yeah,
when you were describing,
like for example,
this is the wisdom
this
wheel.
is the wisdom wheel. This
So-
is what because I think we started on this, and then I said, Lisa, the logo should come from the wisdom wheel,
I think you
which
may
is
be
the
right.
basis.
So you're right. So this required so many conversations, because this wisdom wheel is really, if I'm understanding correctly, the basis of
Everything we do here
that you do
at
here.
Life
So
Force, yeah.
it is deceptively simple. It looks like, oh, okay, it's not a big deal. It means everything. It is how you live your life. How do you get through your problems, figure things out? You can use this wheel to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And this wheel is also representing talking to your spirit guides and spirit, and finding who you are and how do you get to your true self. So creating your logo
Mm-hmm.
based on the wisdom wheel, it was a big undertaking, and I really enjoyed the process. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought for some reason that the logo was first and then that, but I think you're right. It was the wisdom wheel, then the logo. That was redesigned.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, because you had to have designed the wisdom wheel in order to
be
because
able-
to
right.
get the logo.
Do you have a copy of your logo right now? I think
It
it
is
might
somewhere.
be at the top of our flyer.
Oh, yes. So, there you go. And actually, we went through several different variations of it.
So you see, it is the wisdom wheel behind the words life force.
Mm-hmm.
And the logo itself is not on the banner here. It's
Yeah.
it's just the circle.
Yeah.
But
But anyway,
Yeah.
so what is we'll talk later at some point about what the wisdom wheel is.
right.
But this is something that I started, I always say like a downloaded from the universe
Mhm.
through doing my music and dance profession, right? So
Right.
I was doing modern dance and performance art, and then realized I wanted to really develop my own technique of that art form.
Exactly.
And as I did that through improvisation, I discovered 4 different ways that people interact when they are improvising. And one I called streaming, osmosis, dialogue, and crystallizing. Everything I've done since then, since 1985, has been based in that. And what I realized as I did this was, like, streaming is moving on your own and understanding what you're thinking and feeling. Osmosis is leading and following. Dialogue is interacting energy, and crystallizing it is moving with a common form and energy. And when people would experience this, they would have like these breakdowns and breakthroughs, and I realized that I was doing something very cathartic.
So you were doing a lot more than
Dance.
just doing dancing.
Oh yeah,
And
big time.
To me,
Mhm.
that's what this whole space is about.
Yes.
It's so much more than artwork. It's so much more than a performance. It's not just, oh, here is
Art
a
in the
theater
Western.
event. It's
Yes.
not. It's really energy work. It's energy healing.
Mhm.
It's figuring out who you are. And I think that is really one of the biggest reasons I'm drawn to here, is
Mhm.
because my artwork is no longer just representative artwork of nature and things like that. So when I first started, everything that I was doing was landscapes and flowers and different things, but they always were me looking at a reference and drawing or painting the reference. And but I switched. I gradually start going into things that were my dream visions, things that I had been thinking about, or in yoga. Kind of, I would notice, oh, you know, I'm seeing a lotus flower and I'm imagining tulips and butterflies or whatever, and my artwork transformed as I was transforming.
You want to tell a little bit about your background with
Oh,
art?
yeah. I mean, I've always done art, since I was a little kid. Since I could pick up crayons, I was drawing stuff. Didn't really stop. I didn't really think that would be a career or anything like that. Until high school, I wanted to do art as a career, but I was taking art classes freshman year, and then sophomore year, I took my first illustration class, and we made a stained glass window thing where it had, mine had a tree, and I just found, I saw a picture very similar to what I had created and forgotten that this is what I had created in high school, and I didn't know what it was, and now I remembered it. I had done a tree of life with all the black branches and everything, and behind it was all this colorful tissue paper. So we had to cut it all out real neatly, which is not that great for me being left-handed, because I had to use left-handed scissors. They didn't provide at that time, I'm not going to age myself, but we didn't really have left-handed scissors to use, so I had to learn to cut with my right hand, and I can't use left-handed scissors, not at all now, but it took a lot to cut neatly. So I was really proud of this. With the tree and the cutout colors and everything, and she held it up to the window, the light would shine through, and I guess I completely misunderstood my teacher. So what was required of me was not what I did, but my mom loved my piece, and she was gonna frame it when I after I brought it in to school to get a grade on it, then she was gonna go ahead and frame it when I would bring it home. Well, that day my teacher said, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Here, let me show you. And she ripped it open. And in the process of ripping it open, she really ruined my piece. And I wasn't like one of those people that could just speak up immediately when somebody did something. I had no problem in my family life to speak up, but not in, especially not with a teacher. So I just looked at her and I'm like, I'm not feeling well. Can I go to the nurse's office? So I grabbed my stuff and I went, instead of the nurse's office, I went and dropped her class. And I took typing, and typing led to other things, but I never took art in high school again. And that night I went home and I told my mom, I am never taking art in high school, ever. I said, I'm done with it. And she knew I was serious, and she knew not to try to convince me at that moment that I was so upset to change anything. So 2 days later, she came over to me. She had found an oil painting teacher who did landscapes. Her name's Sharon Roman, one of the best landscape artists I've ever seen. And she signed me up for oil painting classes. So of course she asked me first, and the minute I saw the artwork that Sharon did, I'm like, yes! So from 16 years old on, I took oil painting lessons from her, and it changed everything. So you could say I should be mad at the art teacher, right? But I'm not mad at the art teacher. I now as an adult really realize what a gift she gave me, because had I not gotten upset enough to walk away from something I loved, I may not have continued in art. I don't think I would have continued in art, because I really didn't like the illustration process where you would create something and then you have a client say, oh no, I don't like it like that, can you change this? And you have to start over. I am not a reproduction machine for, I'm not a copy machine. I do not want to do it more than once, because what I've realized is that all my energy goes into whatever I'm creating. So if whatever I've created, it's perfect as is, even though, yes, somebody else can say, oh, you didn't draw that properly, or that's not exactly right. Well, maybe not, but energetically, it's perfect as is. You know how many kids go around saying, oh, this is horrible, or this is this. And I've said to my daughter and her friends going, what are you talking about? I love it. It's the energy of what you've created that counts. You know, but I guess it depends on what your perception is and what
goal is.
What the goal is, right?
Yes,
If all you're doing is recreating it and it's photographic, then yes, then it could be considered not good.
Yeah.
But
and
there's other purposes to stuff.
Absolutely. And so really you were studying and you created some art, but then you became a stay-at-home mom for a while, and then you weren't like creating as much artwork and things like that. Yeah. And then you got into, like you're saying, Tai Chi and yoga, and suddenly you felt energy.
Right.
You were talking about that.
Well, I have to back up just slightly. So when I started taking the oil painting classes, I realized I want to do something in art for a career. I just didn't know what. So then the oil painting classes were at an art store where the lady who was the manager of the art store ended up being a mentor to me and guided me to an art school. So I went to the art school and studied illustration anyway, because I love creating, I love drawing. And I graduated, but never worked a day in my life as an illustrator. I became a graphic designer right away. Had a job and realized, okay, this is a job. It's not what I love at that time. Now I love it because now I've made it my own. I've incorporated illustration and energy work within what I do. So I worked for a long time, got married, and after I had my first son, I realized there was no way that my life as a graphic designer would be in alignment with me as a mom, because, you know, with graphic design projects, you stay till things are done. That's not conducive to having a child. It just wasn't, and at that time, what I made compared to how much I had to pay for childcare, I would have come home with $100. There was no point. And fortunately, my husband made enough. I was blessed that he made enough that I could stay home, even though it was a little harder, you know. But then having children, having a family life, I never had time or the energy to put into creating more artwork. I did some graphic design, mostly for his company, and then sometimes for other people. And then I didn't even realize that it was like 14 years later, I had done no artwork. I did faux finishing on my walls, drawn little crayon drawings, you know, but that was about it. And I was, you know, raising my kids, and that was my goal at that moment. But, you know, they're older now, and they're more independent. What had happened was my son's friend in middle school passed away, and I was getting guidance in my head going, you have to paint her. I'm like, no, you know, so to me it was God talking, and I'm like, nope, not doing it, because I don't like having to look at a reference. It's very stressful for me. I can do it, I'm good at it, but I don't love doing that, because it ends up being, I beat myself up because I have an expectation that it's gotta be perfect, but now I understand what's perfect. So that's what I was saying. You know, you have this expectation that this has to look like that, then of course you can judge it as, oh, that's not perfect, right? I ended up doing this drawing and being an acrylic painting, and it opened up doorways for me. I forgot how much I loved to draw and paint and stuff. So for a little bit, I was doing gifts for people in order to just kind of get back into it. And then I ended up trying to get into Art in the Barn, which is a juried art fair. And I got in, and I was very upset. And I was very upset because every single thing of artwork that I would create at that time, it would take me a year, 2 years. You know, graphic design I could do on a deadline, but not artwork, right? And I got into this art fair and told my husband, like, how am I gonna do this? He goes, I just don't understand why you're upset. I'm like, it takes me years to do anything. He goes, the kids are going back to school, you'll have time. So in 1 month, I did 35 drawings, and it wasn't that I was ever lacking in ideas, because I've always had the ideas. They flow in, but I was the kind of artist that I had to see something to represent it to be able to do it.
Mhm.
And that's how I used to be. So the ideas I had not seen anywhere. It wasn't like the internet like now that anything I can dream up, I can say it to, ChatGPT or whatever, or go do a search on Google and find references. There were no references for what I was seeing in my mind. And these are just dreams that I would get. So finally, the drawings they started flowing, and I did drawings, chalk pastel drawings, because they're quicker than painting in, acrylics or oils. I stopped doing the oils only because I became allergic to them, which I wish I wasn't, because I love oil painting. And back it up slightly is what started, I was taking Tai Chi. Tai Chi kind of showed me that there's energy centers in the body, and I didn't expect that. So it opened up my mind to new possibilities. I started taking meditation classes. I was doing yoga. Yoga started in around 2010. And all of it made me understand there's so much more to life than what I had expected, so much more to the energy world. I didn't even know about the energy world.
Well, an interesting thing that some artists that have come here have told me, they come here and they just breathe a sigh of relief, because they say, this is a place that gets me.
Yes, yes.
I'm thinking of somebody like Sharon Bechtold, that people would tell her, what you're doing is shamanic art, or you're doing spiritual art, and she's like, well, what is that? And she coming here and learning about shamanic practice, she said, oh, I just always thought I had a vivid imagination. That I wasn't, that I wasn't just, going to, I wasn't going to like an other world or a spirit world. Mm-hmm. So if you can show these, some of these artworks, I mean, this is like going from, is a deck, an oracle deck that you created.
Right, this oracle card deck I created with my friend and business partner, Lisa Gennady. So I had met Lisa, and she was looking for someone to do an oracle card deck of her writing. So these are 44 of my images that I had created during that time. Here's my business
within
card.
Within about a few months, really.
Well, 35 of these images were what I already had done for that art fair. And then I only had to create, I think it was 9.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah. So in other words, going from being an artist who took months to like
years
to
create anything,
one piece, using the images from your own mind that you feel like spirit needs you to create.
Yes.
Just go.
It was just pouring forth.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of these cards, I mean, are Lisa Gennady's channeled wisdoms. So you can see, like.
So instead of having an oracle book.
Right, the book in a sense is on the actual card. And she's quite amazing with this too. And then things opened up for her around the same time they did for me, where things were really flowing out.
Yeah. So anyway, why don't you show us some of your artwork in the show?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Scooch back. Here's the beginning. So anybody interested in that deck could get it on my website, gatheringvisions.com.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to me.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so the artwork that's in the show here.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you responded to the idea of the soul of the land through this artwork.
So you know how you were saying that Sharon Betch had basically said that people had told her that she was shamanic, but she didn't know it. I've had the same thing happen.
Yeah. And that's why she came here.
Yeah,
To find out
and
from me,
for
what
me,
is shamanism?
Exactly. For me coming
Yeah.
here, it wasn't because of that, but I found out, a sigh of relief too, going, oh, it is what I'm doing. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I named it as that's what I'm doing. I had some people over at Evolve tell me, the artwork you're creating is just like a shamanic journey I've done. I'm like, well, what's that? So for me, it's dream visions. It's my connection to source. It's my connection to earth. And so I realize many of my pieces are animal based. It's just the animal kingdom that talks to me. So for your theme for this show, this exhibit, soul of the land.
Yeah.
For me,
these are actually drums.
These are actually drums, and for me, part of soul of the land is the life that's within it that is on the surface, which would be all your animals and birds, because I really resonate with birds. So, do you want me to explain for these two?
Well, originally they were drums that you painted.
Yes.
That's one thing that you do is paint people's drums.
Yes, I
like
love doing that.
They're using as shamanic work.
Yeah, and you can actually use the drums that I paint because the paint that I use is meant for being flexible. Like Angelus paints. Yeah. It goes on leather, so it should not chip off. And I painted very thin on these just so it doesn't. My acrylic paintings, all bets are off. I can do as thick as I want, but anything that is going to have movement, you want to make sure that you use the correct paint. Otherwise, you do all of that and
it chips.
And you have no more painting, right?
So these are prints.
So these are prints.
Or drums that originals were drums.
Yes.
That's why they're circular.
And the images themselves, I'll start with King Cardinal. It's just something I kept seeing in my mind of the cardinal. So I just start painting and it does its own thing. I wasn't so concerned with making it realistic as much as making the feeling of it. So you actually feel the energy of this bird flying, of it landing, or something is going on. And I do love bubbles and swirls and stuff like that, and paint splashing. It makes me happy. I saw something when I was a kid that my parents took us my brother and I, to an art show, and my favorite artist had like this textured canvas that had splashes of paint everywhere. I'm like, I want to do that. And then Soar over here was actually like, since I've been growing and been here, I pray a lot. So I had something that was bothering me. I was asking God, I need some guidance. So I went to sleep and I dreamt of flying above this bird. And I didn't realize it was really an answer to anything until I got up. I painted the bird on the one drum that I had, and I saw that it was a bluebird, and I was looking up references of what kind of bluebird was this, and none of the bluebirds that I saw was it. And I realized it was a blue jay, so I found a reference. But even though I might use a reference just for some details, I'm not copying, which is the difference of what I do now. So once in a while, I'll have a reference of somebody's face, or I'll have a reference of a bird, but it's not a copy. It's not a photographic thing. It's more of just to get some of the details. So this bird, I realized afterwards that it was the answer to my prayer the night before. It was basically telling me that when you fly up to a different height, different perspective, you see your problems or whatever it is that you need help with from a completely different angle, and that's how you can heal it. You could figure it out is by seeing it from a different vantage point. Right. And it just didn't occur to me. So
Yeah.
that's how I love to do artwork, is that my artwork is being used as a tool for transformation and healing, which over here at Life Force, you use art as a tool for transformation and healing, and that's why it resonates with me so much.
Exactly. And also, that is the Healing Arts Intensive
Right.
that you and I are going to be
Right.
teaching together.
It starts, what day?
October 9th,
October 9th.
2024.
It's a
Yeah.
6-week shamanic healing process.
Process through the arts.
That's right.
Yes.
I was trying to remember the
Uh-huh.
exact
Yeah,
wording.
yeah.
I did the flyer for it and was writing everything down to see if I could remember it during
Right.
our live here, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to be working on and doing one of the workshops, which involves these 2 images here, where I take people on a healing meditative journey that I will write, and I will guide them on this journey, and then they will write their own experiences from that journey, and then do their own artwork based on that. And it's a way to find answers to their own things going on. And it's about, what did we call this one?
This is called To Be or Not to Be Broken.
That's right.
Which goes into your next
Which
artwork.
goes into the next artwork,
Yeah.
if you want to.
I also want to
yeah.
just show all of these different other wonderful artworks that some of our artists have done. Yes. Also, the
So this other piece here is another image that is.
That's good. Sure.
Another image that's in the exhibit, and it's really a broken drum.
This is an actual drum.
This one is an actual drum. It's the original. A friend of mine over at Evolve
What's Evolve?
Evolve is a crystal shop in Crystal Lake that they, like, right when I was first starting my journey, they asked me to bring some artwork to hang up in their store. So they were selling artwork for a while for me. And I was very honored, because it was just the beginning of my art journey of being able to share my artwork with people. But Melinda had come up to me, she's like, she was very upset. She's like, the drum is broken.
This
I can't
is
do
where you
yeah.
can see the drum.
I can't do anything with it. Would you?
It's broken in terms of the head of the drum.
Right, not the
skin.
wood, the skin. So there's no way to repair that. So
You'd have to replace the whole. You can repair a drum by replacing the whole head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she didn't, with the store, there would have been, it would have cost her more to repair it than it would be just to either toss it. And she didn't want to toss it because it was so beautiful. So she gave it to me to paint a picture on it. And then it sat in my office at home for a year until suddenly I saw in my mind what needed to go on it. And I think it was kind of like, wine. Wine isn't wine or a good wine until it sits for a while.
Right.
So that's how this one was. I start seeing the images and start painting the wolf and the owl and the hawk and another owl and the bear. And I didn't really know what all of it meant. And really the only thing that's in color here are the eyes of the wolf. And ironically, my friend Lisa, who I create the Oracle card decks and now many, many other Team Lisa products with, she has a dog that has this, looks just like this. But as I finished this painting, this poem came through, and it really represents a lot about, things that are broken. Are they broken? Are they destroyed? Or do they have another purpose? So the poem came through, broken drum made anew by twine and paint to renew the torn hide, thought ripped beyond repair, meant for the trash, a broken ear. Then a choice, an intention, a loving intervention. This drum that lost its beat now sings a sweet painted sound with owl, hawk, wolf, and bear, and hidden images can you hear? So it kind of reminds me of broken friendships, broken things that need to be adjusted.
Right.
Like just because a friendship may have a problem doesn't mean it's really meant to be thrown away. Maybe a new image, new picture can be created from it.
Right.
So now it has a new purpose.
And so when we do healing arts intensives,
Yes.
Those are based in the exhibits that
Yes.
we have. And a lot of times I ask the artists if they want to co-lead with me this healing arts intensive. So it's 6 different sessions, including one of them is a performance that Life Force Arts Ensemble does.
Exactly.
It's taking that theme, like for example, what does brokenness mean?
Right.
And are you going through some kind of a situation in your life that there's something that's broken? And how can you reframe that? Or how can you, if you want to hold that up, that is the flyer that you created.
Right, so actually this side shows the general image of it and the days that this Healing Arts Intensive will be run.
And usually we do them a couple times during the run of the show. The show is about 1.5 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the other side is all the different
Sessions of
sessions.
it. So of course the first one is the orientation, and it's not just talking about what you're going to be doing. You actually take them on a meditation and stuff, right? Or
Well, and also what is their transformational goal?
Right.
So each person does that. And so anyway, I hope that people can come or check this out on our website.
Right.
And I also want to point out the design of the show. So you can see here Lisa's artwork, but then also the other artworks that are around it. So we take a lot of different artists' artwork and then put them together and design the flow of energy through the whole show. So all of that is part of what we're doing by bringing all of these different artists together.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to say for the Healing Arts Intensives that there are many parts of the Healing Arts Intensives that you can take separately.
Yes.
So each workshop can be taken separately. Going and doing the Healing Arts performance can be taken separately. Was there another thing? I know the beginning and the end, the closure would not be separate, but then there's one extra thing
That I teach. It's called Shamanic Journeying Art Writing with Joan Forrest Mage. It's like ask your spirit guides.
And they can take that separately too?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so it's great to sign up for the whole Healing Arts Intensive because it really, I don't know, energetically it is such,
Yeah.
I don't know, such a treasure. It's like you get the whole picture.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, it's a whole process, and I mean,
Right.
people radically transform
Yeah.
from doing the Healing Arts Intensive. I would really say it's like the pinnacle of my artistic work is to do the Healing Arts Intensive. 40 years of working on the wheel.
Right.
Yeah, the wisdom wheel. Yeah. So,
And we can
let's
continue
see.
to see more of our
continuing
exhibits.
on. One thing I definitely wanted to bring up, you want to tell also about this one.
Sure.
So I've also done some of Life Force's, or one of Life Force's Christmas cards. This was from, I believe it's
2019.
2019, and this year I will be making a Christmas card of the King Cardinal that's in the exhibit. So if you need Christmas cards for anyone, check out Life Force's website because those will be available maybe November?
Soon. Yeah.
We won't say exactly when, but I will be designing it tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
great. Oh, and just so you know too, if you come visit Life Force, they have, inside the show, they also have jewelry that people that are part of the Life Force community have made.
This is our museum store.
It is. It's a very unique place. It's a community.
Yes.
You want to explain about that?
And physically, our physical space is 1609 West Belmont in Chicago. So we're right here in the heart of Lakeview, Chicago, and urban shamanism, right? However, we do have all kinds of our events we do online, as you can see by that you are seeing this as a live stream or as a recording.
Right.
So please join us. The Healing Arts Intensive can be taken by Zoom. The performances, the different workshops, all of that kind of stuff. So, wherever you are in the world, we've had people all over the world that have joined us. So I really hope that you can join us.
And I really appreciate you having me here today,
Oh,
Joe.
absolutely. Thank you.
And accepting me in your show.
Oh.
And I love doing graphic design for Life Force and others. So I'm a graphic designer. Anybody needs logos or flyers or letterhead or anything.
Yeah. And I can vouch for Lisa. She is the best person to work with, and
thank you.
Gets things done on time with deadlines and all kinds of stuff. So a really
Those deadlines,
amazing
I'm telling you.
person to work with.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Check us out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.